The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set.
Hey, welcome back. Another hot episode of HBCU Hour. It's your boy Pooh Bell. Got my man Ant Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, man?
What's up with it, bro?
Not much, man. Happy Monday.
Wasn't nothing happy about it, but yeah.
It was happy. I just played a couple games before we got the show going, so I'm happy about that. Running back doing well, for his team. I don't know. But man, we got a good one in store, man. Got a couple man. I was, as I'll start, getting ready for tonight, saying looking up some topics and stuff to talk about. I saw like two stories we're gonna talk about, and I was like, man, I'm surprised, and I'm with one, I got a story I'm looking at. I'm like, I'm a little nervous. I don't know how this is gonna go. Just simply because I know how things are, when these people make these documentaries, I get a little nervous. Some of the stuff that might come out. And then, man, it's just, I guess today started off with some really good news. And I guess we can go there first. Try to switch up the order of little things. But St. Augustine, man. St. Augustine University in North Carolina. They have been reinstated as a full member of the SACSCOC accreditation and stuff. And it was unanimous. So congratulations to them. We do know a lot of those students were affected by that because they, pretty much football team was a wrap. And a lot of those students, I don't know if they stayed put or what happened, but I am happy to hear that they are now accredited again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean they're on it's like a probationary period, but still, we lost a good school like that with Morris Brown. So yeah. Then this is a story that I was a little bit worried about. I don't know if you saw. Netflix is doing a documentary on the about Steve McNair, but it's going to talk about the murder of Steve McNair. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a little nervous about that.
Yeah, I'm always kind of weary whenever they do documentaries about things like this. You don't know if they have a narrative that they're trying to push through the documentary, or if they just trying to really get to the bottom of it. So I'm gonna watch it, but I'm kind of skeptical, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I remember when it happened. And I remember then a lot of narratives and stuff came out, a lot of different things. I'm cautious. I'm gonna watch it with cautious optimism.
Yeah.
Because I'm hoping that they can tell a story and highlight this man's life. But I'm also hoping it doesn't, but they with the untold stories, because it's gonna be on with the untold series, they have been pretty fair to people, allowing people to either speak their truth. I know he's not here, but allowing his truth to be told. Matt Tateo, Johnny Football, the one Malice in the Palace, all those, they were pretty good as far as not necessarily trying to paint people one way or the other. Like the Manti Te'o stuff, I learned a lot, and it kind of made me kind of reconsider how I looked at that whole situation.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that, having that conversation. What's good, Adrian? We're gonna be talking Jackson State tonight, Adrian. Don't act up. We got, we got family in the business in the building. I know how you get. But man, I I want to say, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's go ahead, take our break now. Do our commercial thing so we don't get in trouble. I did it too early last night, and anyway. We're gonna give a shout out to our sponsors over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag will be back in 1 minute.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
I say Jarome's in the house. We got one of my favorite SIDs in the building. From Jackson State, the Associate AD for PR and Sports Media, Mr. Travis Jarome. Thanks for joining us, Travis.
What's up, fellas? Hey, thanks for having me. But I got to say, you used that skinny picture of me for the thing, and I ain't seen that in about a year and a half. So, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to those legs, but we got to figure that out.
Been eating good, huh?
Been eating good. Been on the road for more days than I've been in the office since I've been in Jackson. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Travis, again, thank you for coming on. I do want to say I got to give you kudos. Every year you never cease to amaze me. I know last year you were at Alabama State, and Labor Day Classic. Say, hey, Travis, I'm coming through. He said, I got you taken care of. Came through, you made sure, everything was taken care of. You wouldn't let me in the press box to eat no chicken, but that's all right. I understand. I stay on the sideline. No, I'm just kidding. But you took care of me last year. And then this year at Media Day, you made sure we had a chance to talk to Coach TC, talk to Coach O, and definitely appreciate it, man.
Oh man, that was a point. I had a chance to sit down with TC before Media Day, and he wanted to make up for last year having to leave early and wanted to make sure he touched everybody that was there. So we did. And, I just appreciate y'all. You don't understand how valuable it is to have so many different members of the media, podcast shows, written media, television, just to have that many people at Media Day. I mean, nobody really understands until you go through it and you see, I want to say we touched probably 45, 50 different outlets while we were there. So Jackson State made the news. Jackson State is what they're talking about, and some people aren't happy. Some people are happy, but we know what the I love is, and everybody there is happy.
Yeah, you can always bet that Jackson State is going to be talked about in one way, shape, or fashion. Whether it's good or bad, they're going to be in somebody's mouth. Pause. But what was your overall takeaway for Media Day this year?
I mean, it was good. There were a lot of different people there that we haven't seen before. The all conference teams came out. We had a feeling we were going to be some guys short, just for the simple fact of injuries last year that we knew they didn't meet the threshold to be able to make the all conference teams. But, everybody was all up in arms about the predicted order of finish. But it's like we said all week and all day leading up into it. And then, even on the day of, players and coaches, I mean, it's still mid-July. Those predictions came out before camp. It's got to give somebody something to talk about. Nobody knows anything until those teams take the field in August, and, we'll be one of the first ones out playing on that Thursday night.
Travis, I do want to ask you about the preseason predictions, for players of the year on both sides. Why is there a threshold if we're talking about the next season? Why are we worried about what happened last season as far as they didn't play, because somebody brought up a great point. What if they played in, say, 2022, had an amazing season, got hurt in 2023, and missed most of the season? You know the caliber of player. Why are we worried about the threshold?
Well, what a lot of people don't know is how this stuff gets put in place, and it's not by the conference office. There are different committees, coaches committees, AD committees, presidents, and things get escalated up the chain and pushed up the chain. And, this is something that was voted on and passed by the conference, got to the ADs and the presidents. And it's just, I guess it's a way to protect the brand of the conference. At one time, guys were getting on the all conference team and then, or ladies, and then not competing at all because they were still injured. So I guess it's just a way that they have viewed it as being able to protect that brand of the conference. I mean, look, people know who the right people are, and nothing against anybody that made those preseason teams, but it's a paper reward. It doesn't mean anything at this point in the year. You're basically on a preseason team, and the other part about it is, if you make the postseason team from 2023, you're automatically on the preseason team in 2024. And if you're second team, you fill a slot on the first team if there's an open slot. If you're not, you stay on the second team. So there's not that many slots already open anyway to begin with. And so, I think if you change it, then you open up Pandora's box for guys that play like one game and had a great 2022. But then if they had a great 2022 and you get injured, who's to say that they're going to be great in 2024 when you had somebody just played in 23 and you see their numbers that just happened less than a year ago?
Yeah, that makes sense. So I know you talked about the predicted order of finish and all of that. What was the sentiments to y'all? I mean, was it any feel of slight or disrespect, or was it kind of like you mentioned, it's July, they got to have something to talk about?
Look, it's mid-July. It gives everybody something to talk about. If you ask Coach TC right now what he thinks, probably the same thing, echo the same sentiment. Hey, just leave us right there. We still got to play all those games. We still got to play all those conference games. We're fine. I mean, we're fine being picked third in the preseason. It's what happens at the end of November and early December is what really counts. And, the team that holds that trophy up is the team that can look at the preseason predictions and be like, you know what? You didn't pick us, and look what happened.
Yeah. You muted.
Thank you. And speaking with Coach O, speaking with TC, their approach, I guess, to year two is so different than it was from year one. And I know you weren't necessarily there, but you around, you see it. He's so calm, and the demeanor was just like, hey, we're where we, expect, almost like, hey, when you score a touchdown, act like you've been there before. That's kind of the sentiment I got. What is it like in that locker room day to day?
Look, I saw him play twice last year. I saw the highest of highs when they beat South Carolina State in the SWAC. Saw it in person. And I saw the lows when, I was at that school in Montgomery and we came over here and won in Jackson last year. So I've seen both sides of it. But just to be around it now on a day-to-day basis and be able to get to know them a little better on the inside, man, it's as calm can be. There's a reason, a lot of these schools put out a lot of info about who they were signing, about the transfer portal. Obviously, we were in transition from, a whole new staff coming in March on our end. So we really didn't do a whole lot. But at the same time, that's how they wanted it. Fly under the radar. Don't let a whole lot of people know what you got. And then when you take the field, they'll realize what you have. And, they're deep at every position. We're really deep on the offensive side of the football in the positions that needed to be deep. With some injuries, we got deeper on the defensive side of the ball. And when you can have 5 kickers on your roster, that tells you a whole lot about where the needs are and where his focus is on building depth at every spot. I'll tell you what, everybody looks at who's under center. Obviously last year, we had 2 or 3 that had to play. We got 3 or 4 that can play this year if we had to put them in and play them. Running backs, the same situation. Just got to stay healthy. That's the biggest concern is, we just got to be healthy and be healthy throughout the year and not lose the top 2 guys at each position, at key positions like we did last year. But, it's a different demeanor, man. You got new coaches. You brought back a lot of Jackson State blood back into the locker room, in the coach's office. So they're able to tell those guys what it's like to be part of this family, part of this, this base. And, when guys run out and they see 40, 50, 60,000 people inside that stadium for the first time, they'll know what to do. I mean, they'll be ready to play. But again, it's a weekly approach. You heard Evan and Isaiah talk about it. It's every week is a championship week. They're not slighting anybody, and they're going to take every game the same exact way. But right now, they're focused on August 29th and nothing else.
What's the expectation this year for the season?
To win every game, obviously. I mean, that's what you want. That's the expectation, and to win the conference title. But again, the biggest expectation is keeping everybody healthy. You keep everybody healthy, this team's dangerous. I mean, we're loaded. When I tell you we're loaded at every position, a lot of people want to focus on D line and defensive backs. Linebackers are sitting right there. Brought in some key guys transfer-wise. Offensively, top 2 receivers are back. That we have one on first team. Rico probably would have made it if he would have met that threshold. Offensive line is back. Irv's back in the backfield. JD's back in the backfield. Jacobian's back under center. Added a bunch of key guys in that backfield. You really can't see a drop off when you go from 1s to 2s, and then throw some 3s in with those 1s and 2s just to see what they do in those skill sets. But again, it's training camp. They're going through motions without pads. Nobody's lined up against anybody, hit anybody. You're not lined up against the other team. But the expectation is always going to be the same. Let's go out and compete and win every game.
We talked a lot, we're talking about, the football team and everything. I know that's kind of because that season's fast approaching. You're working more and stuff with TC. But how do you balance that time, I guess? Because, Jackson State and when you were, your previous, endeavors, how do you balance that time to I guess, bounce between the coaches to help them out, even preseason or however you look at it?
Yeah,
make sure they're ready.
Luckily, I've got a good staff in place. Taylor Jean was here already when I got here. Taylor Jean Lewis, she's back and she'll handle her same duties. So that takes a load off of my plate. And I brought my guy from over there with me. He understands the expectations and the standards and understands the workload. So, Kendall's over here, and then we've got Rob J also in the office. So for me, it takes a load off having a full staff. We're able to balance some things out and push some things out a little different way. We're doing it real quiet this summer. We're just planning out and scheduling. And then you got guys like Austin that's over there with Football Creative and he's got his own crew. Time management is a key, but you got to have good people around you in order to do that. We've got some other things in the works that we'll announce here, hopefully within the next couple of weeks that will make, our fan base a little happy. But, the balance between coaches is a little harder this summer than it has been. Men's basketball has been practicing this month because we head to Puerto Rico on August 9th for a 6-day trip for our foreign trip to go play 3 games and come back. And that'll be a trip I make right after I come back from a CSC board meeting in Chicago for 3 days. So I land at 9:45 on August 8th, and I'm back at the airport at 6 o'clock on August 9th in the morning to fly out with men's basketball. And it's been like that since I've been there in March. You just have to balance, and you have to find time to spend with that family. You have to be able to say, hey, I'm going to go home for a couple hours and get away. But, my 2 reports, AD Wells and AD Robinson fully support everything we're doing. They get it. They understand we're trying to change things. And that's what I was brought in to do, was try to change the way we do things. But just all this different stuff that's going on, it's throwing some wrinkles in here and there that I've had to learn to deal with. But realistically, man, if it's something you love to do, you figure it out. And to be able to do it at a place like Jackson State that's rich in history and is looking to start new things and Blaze New Trails, as Ashley likes to talk about. You have to find that time, but you also have to take care of yourself.
You talk about the tradition and the history of Jackson State, but they also have one of, if not the largest fan base in all the country, HBCU sports and athletics. What's it like, being around that fan base and the fan base, I guess you would say?
Look, I'll tell you like this. I was told a story by A.D. Robinson a week and a half after I got there. He told me a story about how when he first got, and he's a Jackson native. So I just kind of brushed it off like, yeah, that happened to you because you're a Jackson native. But he was talking about going out in public and trying to get things done and getting stopped, people wanting to talk to you. And I was like, man, that's not going to happen. There's no way. Nobody, I'll be able to go to the store. I'll be able to go hang out. Man, there's not a store that you can go in that people don't know who you are, that they recognize you. Or if you're wearing a Jackson State shirt, they want to carry on a conversation. Just happened tonight. I was at Sam's, and we were talking about it right before we went on. I was at Sam's, and I had my Jackson State shirt on. So the guy was looking at me like wanting to have a conversation and points. I'm like, yeah, it's Jackson State. And I said, yeah, I started working athletics. And he keeps looking and turns his head to the side. I was like, go ahead. I said, you can say whatever you want to say. I said, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. And he said, Travis. And I was like, yeah. And so we had a 20-minute conversation, and he was with his wife. And by the time we looked up, his wife was on the other side of the store. Come back and get him. But again, that's the love and of this fan base. And, I opened up something I've never done, something nobody here has ever done, something that I'm still going through. So if I haven't responded to some DMs, there's a reason. I opened up my DMs to the fan base and was like, hey, what do you want to see? What can we help do? I said, this is an opportunity for you, good, bad, ugly, whatever you want to say, put in the DMs. Don't reply. Just put in the DMs. So I had people replying. So I was having to go through and hide the replies because some of the stuff they were saying was not stuff that I wanted to be out in replies. Yeah. I wanted to be in DMs. But just to be able to see and hear and be able to talk to a fan base. And it was like that at Alabama State. The first game I went back, the home opener, I took Kendall and Khalil and then a couple other guys through tailgate. We barely made it halfway through before we had to start turning around going back just because of people wanting to speak and come up and talk just for being back. And that's kind of where, you feel appreciated. And that's kind of where we want to take it here to where not necessarily us going out, but just we take it to another level. In our first staff meeting, I asked the question, what do you think about when you think about Jackson State? And they said the standard. So I said, okay, let me ask you this, is a standard here? Is a standard here? I said, tell me where the standard is. And they were kind of like just kind of putting their hand in front of the face. I said, well, that's the standard for you. I said, the standard for me is here and the expectation level is up. I said, so we got to somehow meet that expectation level and figure it out on the way up. But, at the end of the day, I welcome it, good, bad. It is what it is. Fans is short for fanatical. So, you have to prepare yourself for it. And I knew what I was walking into. I wasn't a stranger to it. I've been around this conference for 7 years. I'm not a stranger to it. I've been on the other sideline. I've been yelled at walking into a stadium. I've been loved on walking into a stadium, into this stadium. So it's going to be a little different walking into the stadium with the colors I'm going to have on now. But, end of the day, we were talking about before we went on, it's a special place. And I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon. And I told my two bosses that this past week that you got me locked in for a while. So enjoy the ride because, it's going to be bumpy at some point. But once we get through those bumps, we're going to get it to where it needs to be and give the alumni and the fan base something to be happy about.
I want to ask, I actually got two questions. I'm going to ask this first one. Kendall and Khalil. That's our guys over there. You were able to work with them and have actually, now have Kendall with you. Tell us a little bit about them. I didn't ban them, but I ain't necessarily invite them tonight either too. So
Kendall knew what was going on. I told Kendall because his office is directly across from mine. Yeah. So I told him he wasn't allowed to get on. He just started laughing.
Yeah.
I originally And, you know, if anybody from Alabama State's listening, this is not a knock, but I did try to take both of them. And they're not the only two that I've been trying to pilfer and bring over. You know, those two young men that are now college graduates, I don't think a lot of people understand what they did when they were at Alabama State. You know, they came in and they were learning under the staff that was put in place after I left the first time. And I kind of, when I got back, I said, guys, I said, we can do this one of two ways. I said, you can continue to do what you've been doing. I said, or you can come under me and I can teach you as much as I know and I can pour you into you every day. And I continued to pour into them. They poured into me. And the day that I told them, when I told them that I was leaving, you know, I told them before I told anybody on full-time staff that I was leaving because I felt like I needed to and I told them then, I said, you know, I don't say this a lot, but thank you. You saved me a lot because you were able to take some stuff off of my plate. You saved me when it came to these shows, being able to edit them. So I didn't have to try to figure out the time I was going to be able to do it. And they just took things and ran with it. You know, and Alabama State's got a good one in Khalil. You know, I've got a good one in Kendall. You know, they're both they can both do a lot. And you know, it's not a competition between the two, and it's not a competition between me and a lot of people think it's a competition between me and Alabama State, and it's not. It's not a competition. You know, it's just there is no competition, and people can take that for what it's worth, how they want to spin it, how they want to say it, but there is no competition. And you know, I've told Kendall since he walked in, dude, I said this is an opportunity for you to learn and work at the same time. I told Taylor the same thing, and I told both of them in our staff meeting. It's like if you want to go somewhere. 2-3 years, if you get an opportunity to go somewhere, I'm not going to hold you back if I think you're ready. You know, if I think you're ready, I'm going to make a phone call for you. You know, they both still have a lot to learn, especially in this field because they're used to doing social, they're used to hosting a podcast, they're used to being on camera. There's some new things that they got to learn what to do and how to do them. You know, and it's not old school stuff. It's just it's part of the business. You know, we have some issues here that we're going to end up being our own media in some ways and taking it with the bull by the horns. And Kendall's going to play a big part in that because he's going to do a lot of writing. And that's what he did when I first met him at Alabama State. I met him when he was a freshman. He came up to the press box as a freshman and worked for the Hornet Tribune and worked his way up and kept going. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's what got him where he's at. You know, they were both on my radar the whole time. I was trying to get them both come over and be GAs. I'm just going to be honest with you and put it out there. And then when Khalil got out, you know, that they were going through the whole search at Alabama State and he was going through that, I just called Kendall and said, like, hey, scrap the GA, man. I said, you want to come over here and be my other assistant? And that's how it happened. You got to be comfortable with who you got. You know, so for me, I'd have been happy with both. I'm happy with Kendall, but I would have been happy with both of them. You know, and I wish Khalil and Alabama State the best, but, you know, they're both really good at what they do. They'll both be really productive as they get older, and they'll both be able to do things really well in this business, in this industry.
Yeah. Sounds like to you, relationships play an important part in how you conduct business and how you navigate through your everyday tasks and things like that. Yeah,
they do. You know, I was at an event this week, ADs for Christ, and there was a speaker talking about how you're on a boat and you have every boat leaves a wake, and on that wake, one side is results, one side is relationships. Well, if you may get great results but have poor relationships.
Yeah.
You may have great relationships but poor results, but you got to figure out how to maintain the two. And you know, relationships for me are the biggest thing in this business. You've got to build them. It helps you get through the day. It helps you get through business. You know, it just, man, 10 years ago, I could have probably named 5 people that I knew besides the people I work with every day.
Yeah.
I got told walking to the convention this time because I kept getting stopped. You know everybody. I was like, I don't know everybody. I was like, I just know people.
Yeah.
And people know me. And then when you get a chance and you get selected for the board of your professional organization, people know who you are and it resonates and it gives the HBCUs a voice now. And you know, for me, just having that opportunity to be able to go out in public, to be able to go and speak to other professionals, whether it be ADs, whether it be coaches, whether it be SIDs, you know, for me, That's what it's about. We get to events. Yeah, of course, I'm going to speak to the SID and the communications professional, but I always speak to the head coaches of each program and each AD. There's not an AD in this conference I can't go up to and have a conversation with and smile and cut up. There's not a head coach of any team that I can't go up and speak to just because of being able to go up and talk to them and introduce yourself and have a relationship. If they know you care and it's more than just X's and O's, they're more apt to want to have a conversation with you and do what you ask them to do and help you along the way.
Yeah. Travis, you mentioned being a kind of a representative for HBCUs. I want to ask, how did you become? I mean, I'm not gonna become. How did you get involved in working at HBCUs? Because I've seen you so far. I've seen you at 2, and I've seen you in the HBCU nightly. I've seen you in the spaces, and elephant in the room, the white guy with all the love for HBCUs. You know what I'm saying?
And look, I'll start backwards. So when you're going through the board process, you have to go through an interview. In that interview, you're on with a bunch of past presidents. And I'm talking about folks in this business that were in it for 40 years, that were 30 years ago, and you know who they are. But the unfortunate part is it's a lot of people that look like me. There were only 2 people on it that didn't look like me, and that was Rob Knox and Jess Poole, who are two good, really friends of mine. And I told him in that interview, I said, if I get this opportunity, I'm not what people think about when they look at HBCUs. I'm not what the vision is when people see it, but the school name is going to be attached to it. Forget me. The school name is getting attached to it will speak volumes because it will be the second person from Jackson State to have that opportunity. And it will have been, I think Sam was 91 to 93. So you're talking, 20 years, almost 30 years now, that the last person from Jackson State was represented on the board. So it gives people a chance that are at HBCUs to say, we do have an opportunity. We are going to get chances. We are going to have a voice. But the way I got into HBCUs, it was a shot in the dark. I was a high school athletic director, had been in college communications forever, stepped away to one of the biggest private schools in the state of Alabama to serve as an AD. Did it for 3.5 years. The last year, I was just like, man, I want to get back in college athletics. And so I just started looking around, and Curtis Campbell was the athletic director at Tuskegee. I owe him a lot. I owe him, just about everything for getting me back in college athletics, because he took a chance on a guy that hadn't been in almost 4 years. And he said, well, his question to me after we went through the whole process, after I met with all the coaches, his question to me was very poignant. He said, straight to the point, he said, how do I know you can do the job? You've been out of it for so long. My response to him was, I said, Mr. Campbell, I said, all due respect to anybody else you're interviewing, I said, just give me a computer and somewhere to sit down. And I said, you don't have to worry about anything. And so that's kind of the mentality I took while I was at Tuskegee. I did volleyball by myself, inputting it on the computer the old way where you had to put the codes in with the letters and the numbers and watch it at the same time. We started streaming at Tuskegee, something that hadn't been done at that level. And then as you do that, you build relationships. I built a relationship with Ruben Perez, who was at SIEC, who's now at Alabama A&M. He sent me a text out of the blue one day while I was sitting in my office and said, Trav, you want to get back to D1? I was like, I would love to. I said, I love what I'm doing here. I said, I can put my feet up on the desk. He goes, yeah, but you want me back at D1, don't you? I was like, yeah. I said, a little bit. He goes, send your resume. And I said, where am I sending it? He goes, send it to Jennifer Lynn Williams. Jen was a deputy AD at Alabama State at the time. And I'm from Montgomery, so it just made sense. And I was living in Wetumpka, driving back and forth to Tuskegee every day. So, I sent it to Jen. Jen gave it to Terrence. Terrence Jones, who used to be here, who's now the AD at Southern Connecticut State, called me 3 times before I answered it because I didn't have his phone number in my phone. Let that be a lesson. If you recognize a number, an area code of somebody that might be somebody just answer it. Because after the 3rd time, he said, hey, man, you got to answer your phone. People are calling. I was like, and I have your number in my phone. He goes, you also got to apply for jobs when you see them. I was like, Terrence, I didn't even know the jobs were open. So went through that. long story short, he said, come to campus. I want to introduce you to some people and see, and I love to offer you the job. I said, okay. I said, I'll come to the game. It was a men's basketball game. He didn't know by being from Montgomery. I knew Lou Jack. I knew Mike Curry. I knew Anthony Sewell. I knew Steve Rogers already. Those coaches came out of the tunnel and they stopped. Like, man, what you doing there? I was like, oh, Terrence, I forgot to tell you, I accept the job. Right there in front of them, so they knew. And it just kind of took off from there. I came in as a number 2, was there to help Brian Howard. I was cool with it. I'd been in that role before.
Yeah.
I was good with being able to sit there and relax and enjoy life and enjoy, being a number 2. Well, Brian left 6 months in, right before football season started. So I had to change my mentality from a number 2 to a number 1, and had great people there like Andrea Wheeler, who we still talk on an everyday basis, was doing my graphics and helped me with everything I could do that I had to get done. And we just kind of went. I was able to bring in staff. I brought in Eric Evans, a GA from Troy. I brought in Jay Sanders, a former assistant at Troy. I brought in Jordan Benson. That was at Alabama A&M. Brought all them on as full-time staff members at different points. I was able to get great GAs, Jordan Jennings, who now works for the Packers. I was able to get DeQuan Lee, who's working for TV station up in Huntsville, as interns. And it built what we were building, and just to open up doors. For me, it's big that, and I said at the inclusion forum when they put me on a panel, I looked around the room and I was like, real quick, I said, how many HBCUs are represented? Well, there were like 40 of them there at the forum, but only 12 of them were in the room. And then I said, okay, I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. I said, I want you to look at the panel. I said, look at what's different on the panel. And it was HBCU DEI panel. Well, you already know what was different. It was me. And I said, this is directed towards you. I said, we all have privilege. It's how you use that privilege. Do you use it to better yourself? Do you use it to try to get a promotion for you? Do you try to use it to make more money? I said, or do you use it to open up doors for people who don't get doors open for them? Do you use it to get people a seat at the table that need a seat at the table? Do you open up doors for students that normally wouldn't get those chances to either be a student assistant GA or a full-time person? And I said, if you're uncomfortable, it's okay to get up and walk out. I said, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I said, but I go through these conversations, and I've been going through these conversations since 2014. And I said, that's why I'm sitting in front of you, because I'm on our DEI committee. And we talk about this all the time. And so, for me, I had a chance to go work at South Alabama for a year. I loved it. Obviously, I went through, and it's very public. I don't hide behind it. I went through a lot of mental stuff while I was at South. My daughter was going through some stuff at home, being a middle schooler in Wetumpka. She sent me a text and said, you need to come home. Well, I was already going through what I was going through. And that's the first time I ever went into an office and cried with my boss and said, I got to give this up. If I don't give it up, I don't know what's going to happen. And they both got it. They both knew it. And our head football coach at the time, Kane Womack, who's at Alabama now, is at DC, patted me on the chest and said, man, you're doing what a lot of men want to do, but just can't do it. So I gave it up, and I came back home. I told Jason Cable that I'd come and help him. And it just kind of things took from there. But, the HBC world is unless you know how to deal with it, and unless you know what to do in my position, it can be a strain. And I tell people all the time when they get in and they start getting frustrated, I was like, hey, you're not going to have all the resources you want. You got to make do with what you got. Now, I'm at a great place now where if I go and ask for something, we can pretty much try to make it happen. And it's because it's never been asked before. But that's when I tell people we're gonna do things different, and it's not going to be the same promotions and communications department they've seen over the last 8 to 10 years. And that's not a knock on anybody. It's just not. I don't live by that, and my standards and expectations are higher than what I'm given. And I've been allowed freedom to do some things, and we're trying to get them done.
I gotta ask a question for my guy in the chat, so forgive me for this, but my guy Adrian wants to know.
I'm trying not to look at his comments. I know he's putting questions in there.
When are y'all gonna get y'all's own stadium?
How can I say this as to how it was said in our last meeting? It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming. I'll just say that. I'll just say, don't just mail it in and say it's not, and I don't believe you. It's just trust me. I've never openly said anything that I haven't heard. And I've heard it several times. It's coming. A lot of things are going to happen over time, and we've got a great person leading that charge. They always say if you see an AD on campus in his office or her office, something's up. Hardly ever see Ashley because he's out trying to get things done. AD Wells takes care of the day-to-day, but I know in our conversations, the very things that me and him talk about behind closed doors, I would just be patient and don't run off and jump off the deep end and say, Travis said this. Travis just said it's coming. Just be patient. You'll learn over time to be patient. That's how I got where I'm at now. That's why I landed at Jackson State, because I was patient. And I told Ashley 7 years ago, if he made the call, I'd come over here. And so I waited 7 years for that phone call. So you just had to be patient. Good things come to those who wait, is what I've always been told.
Yeah. And Travis, I can say, and you said that, you're probably happier than you've been in a long time. How do you still find fulfillment in your day-to-day work, being in the game as long as you've been in it? How do you still find that happiness?
Man, why you got to say as long as I've been in it? How you making me feel?
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Well, no, it is. Other than those 3 years I went and became a high school AD. I mean, golly, it is. I'm in year 18 of college athletics. Year 20, 21 and a half, 22 in athletics period. It's just, you look at the kids, man, and that's what they are. They're young men and women, but they're still kids. And you look at what you can do to help push the narrative. We got a lot of negative press. We get a lot of negative attention for stuff that doesn't even need to be put out as negative press, negative attention. How do we spin it? That's the fun part for me is just the opportunity to make an impact. I told Jen Fry at the MOA panel 2 years ago in Orlando, right after I went through all this stuff, and it was not public knowledge, and I flat out told her, and she's a big advocate for DEI. I told her, I was like, hey, Jen, I said, I got some news for you. I'm leaving South Alabama. And she goes, why? I said, I'm going back into the HBCU world because I feel like I can make a bigger difference in places that don't get attention that they deserve. And for me, that's the biggest thing is just being able to see the smiles on the student athletes' faces or the coaches' faces, and to be able to do the things. A lot of people laugh because I travel so much. I'm like, y'all really think I like traveling that much? Traveling is for the young folks. If I got to go from bed to bed, man, look, I spent 10 days in Atlanta. I spent 10 days in Tuscaloosa in Atlanta. I came home for 3 and then got on a plane and spent 10 days in Vegas, came home for a couple. And then just past week, Friday, Saturday, I was in Dallas, came back. Monday, Tuesday was in Birmingham, came back. Friday, Saturday, I was in Nashville. Today, I had to go to Mobile for a personal doctor's appointment, which was great news, by the way. And then I'll go home on Wednesday to have some dental work done. Then I'll come home, and then I'm here until August 4th when I got to take my daughter back home. And then I'm going August 6th to August 14th. And that's 2 weeks before football season starts. Jeez. But you have to find the joy in it. And, and this is not a knock. So, I don't want people to think that I'm going to come over here and preach and do anything else. But you got to find that happy place. And my happy place is what, I've told people all along, and it got out of whack, 2-3 years ago. It's my family, my faith, and my work. And as long as I can stay strong in my faith, it gets me through. And to have somebody like Kendall in the office that I can bat stuff off and know that he's the same kind of person I am, just younger. I saw the dude at church on Sunday. I just got back from Nashville and asked him if he could come pick me up if I got delayed and had to fly into Birmingham. He's walking through the church lobby taking a tour. I mean, that's if you can't find happiness in that and happiness in knowing you're surrounding yourself with a bunch of good people, end of the day, I got 3 sports that I'm mainly responsible for: football, men's basketball, baseball. When I walk in to the AAC and all the coaches are there, they're taking a team picture right before the conference tournament, I'm still an Alabama State employee. They come over, they stop taking the picture to come over and speak, dap it up, and then you go upstairs and Mo stands up and says, "Welcome home." What else can you say? You know, you have to find that happy place wherever it is. And that's for anybody out there, no matter what you're doing. If you can find that place that you find joy in, that brings a smile on your face, and don't think of it as a job and as work, I think of it as an opportunity that I can go in every day and be around college athletics, student athletes, and coaches and make a difference. You know, if you go in, you think about it being work, man, look, y'all saw what I put out as far as the media day supplement. That was from scratch. If I was thinking about that as work, man, I would have never done it. But I was thinking about, all right, what are the coaches going to think? What are the players going to think? And I don't think I didn't have a smile. I think I had a smile on my face the whole time that I was there, just being able to talk to everybody. That's what it's about. You know, I just wish a lot more people in this profession would think of it that way instead of thinking about the long hours and little pay. Because you do have some schools that are long hours and little pay. You have some schools that are short hours and big pay. You have some schools that pay right. You have schools that take care of you. You know, it just, for me, it just is, it's living life. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not going to be here much longer.
Yeah.
You know, I was listening to a song this morning talking about don't be sad that I was happy when I was here. I'm happy when I'm gone. Don't drown yourself in sorrow because I'm not here. You know, we're not going to be here forever. So enjoy it. And it took me a long time to find that. I was miserable. Guys, I was 356 pounds in 2020 to 2022. I was miserable. My face wouldn't have fit on the screen back then. And I went to the doctor today, and he kind of looked at me because I was just about 10 pounds over what I wanted to be at, which is like 235, 240. And he said, you know, you were down at 214 a year ago. I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, and I felt like a bobblehead. I mean, you got to find stuff. Make fun of yourself. Do something. You know, at the end of the day, just have fun. And that's where I get my fulfillment, is just having fun and being able to see guys like Evan and Asayas that have never been to media day. And the first thing they do is they come up and shake your hand and say, thank you. I was like, don't thank me. Thank TC. He's the one that told me to bring you. You know, that's what it's about. It's about those student athletes. It's about those women's basketball players that are walking through the arena to do their summer workouts, and every one of them stops and speaks to you.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
Yeah. And you got anything else for Travis before we have to let him go?
Nah, man. I think we borrowed enough of his time for the night, man.
Man, look, y'all know y'all can get me anytime, and no matter how long. I ain't doing nothing but chilling at the apartment, and I had a day off today. But I will say this, and just let me say this to anybody that's listening: don't get in such a rush. Don't get to a point where you're not patient and not know that we serve somebody mightier than us. I was in a bad place October of 22 when I was at South Alabama. And those of you that know my story know the date, October 24, 2022. I was in a bad place mentally, bad place health-wise. So what's today, the 22nd? So 7/22/24, just reversing some numbers around. Got told today I'm coming off all that medication, off of my diabetic stuff. So everything is manageable. So just be patient, be persistent, and just believe in what you believe in, and things will take care of themselves, man. That, for me, that was a big hurdle for me to go over, because I just felt like if I could get off of that things would go back and get right. And so, I'm in a great place, great spot. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
Congratulations, bro.
Yeah, congratulations. Travis, I'll be in touch. As soon as I need some tickets or something, when I get ready to come to Jackson to see y'all.
When y'all come to Monroe on that Thursday night, we gotta meet up, man. I'm in Monroe, so when y'all come up, we'll meet up, man.
No, I'll be there, but I will say this: we're not serving any food for one particular person.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. If I show up with peanut butter jelly sandwich in my pocket, just
you're not getting through the gate at the vet with peanut butter and jelly. Hakeem is back in charge over at the stadium now, so you can forget about that.
You gonna have to search me like that meme with the old guy.
I'll have your box of Uncrustables up there.
All right,
I don't know if there's gonna be any in the wrappers, but they'll be up there.
The box will be up there.
The box will be up there with a bunch of empty plastic.
Oh man.
Nah, man, I appreciate y'all, and look, I appreciate what y'all do for HBCU athletics, especially Jackson State. You know, I think it's lost on a lot of people that what y'all do, and the fact that we have a lot of people we need to take care of because they take care of us, and y'all do that on a daily basis. I'll be the first one to say I appreciate everything y'all do.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right, take care of Kendall for us. Kendall Kellerman, him and Khalil.
Kendall and that other guy over there. Yeah. Well, I'll say his name. Kendall and Khalil over there.
Yeah. Khalil over there.
Khalil over there.
Khalil A. Smith and Kendall Kellerman. Them two, there's some characters there. But man, Travis, thank you again, and we'll be talking soon.
Anytime y'all ready to talk, we'll go.
All appreciate it, man.
Our good man, yes, Travis.
Sir. Good stuff, man.
I genuinely always appreciate me and Travis and talking to Travis. He always it's funny when you see him. He always working. He by business. So he say he lost all that weight. I know how he walking. The dude be walking. Cut his check for. As he was traveling, hey, he started talking.
I know he got plenty of air miles.
Man. All right, man. Gotta move on. Get this one here. I don't know if you saw Morgan Price, gymnast at Fisk University. Mm-hmm. I forget what they call him, like a 5-star gymnast or whatever. But gymnast at Fisk University. She is now a Hall of Famer. She was inducted into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
That's dope. Congratulations, young lady.
Yeah, that is dope, dog. Because think about it, man. She hadn't even been.
Yeah, she ain't been there for like 2 years.
2 years. And, just a historic, I guess you say historic rise, everything she's done, for the sport, saying gymnastics for HBCUs, man, it's big. And, some congratulations to her. Winning I think she was like the first one to win an all-around medal, something like that. First HBCU gymnast. So that was big, man. She's done well. So
yeah, for real.
All right. Hey, I don't know if you saw, there are several changes to the SWAC men's and women's basketball tournament. One of those changes, they going to the A.
Yeah.
Thoughts, man, because you're thinking something.
I just wonder what the end game in this is. It? I mean, because we've talked about, right? We talked about certain universities that need to join the SWAC, right? And one of them being in the city of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Is this the way to kind of appease them and try to throw them a little bone? Or is it to try to get more attendance at some of these events because we know so many SWAC alums live in Atlanta or, around the Atlanta area? So I just wonder what their reason for it was.
I think it's probably just a change. I mean, Birmingham served its purpose, in my opinion. Home is your home base, but I don't know if you were going to grow anymore. But they move every year, not every year. They move every so many years anyway. So now being in Atlanta, I don't know. It's a nice little change of venue. I do think it does play into the whole wanting to bring certain schools into the fold. Don't be surprised if they're in Nashville in a couple of years.
I can see that also.
So, I mean, plead your case. Saying try to get the draw out their attention. The baseball tournament is already in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So why not? So building that relationship. Me at SWAC Challenge, Celebration Bowl.
Yeah, that's different though, because those are like,
I know those are in conjunction with cricket. you know.
Yeah, but that's like an interconference thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
For this
yeah.
one conference.
What are you doing? What's wrong with your leg?
My ankle felt weird.
Your wear and tear meter yellow?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Go ahead, Aunt. My bad. You was just sitting over here like wiggling. What is you doing?
But yeah, they like the SWAC MEAC Challenge Celebration Bowl, you know, those are in conjunction with another conference. But just the SWAC changing their conference games to Atlanta is a little different to me.
Yeah,
But
that's just true. So
and I don't know. I guess if it would move to a more central location, it wouldn't be as weird to me. You know what I mean? But you moving further away from like majority of your schools.
I can, yeah, it's fair. I can see, and I mean, I can see, like I said, I can see them going to Nashville and then probably circling back. They'll be in Texas in a couple of years. You know,
I mean, it would make sense if you like New Orleans and you know what I mean. Then like Nashville, then like if you rotated it, but it's you're going away from most of your schools, moving it to Atlanta.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, yeah, I get it. That's fair. CBS announced today that they are I forget what it is, the Showcase Classic, or I forget what it's actually called. But North Carolina Central versus North Carolina A&T and Howard versus Hampton will be played on CBS in December 28th. I think it's HBCU Classic, Showcase Classic, I think is what it is.
That's dope, but I just wish it was somebody other than CBS.
That's fair. That's fair.
I love the attention, you know what I mean? And I love the spotlight that they shining on HB. I don't like CBS, bro.
Yeah. I agree. I don't care for basketball on CBS, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't.
Yeah, but see, man, that's all pretty much all the topics I got. I mean, I know we got other stuff we could talk about. That's pretty much all that I have, though. So, you got anything?
No, that's all I got.
All right. Have you been seeing all the team builders and all the creativity that's going into creating these? Listen, some of y'all better than EA Sports with some of y'all. The team building and stuff. I saw one with Clark Atlanta today. That was Clark Atlanta. The field was, I mean, that thing looked good.
No, I ain't seen that.
Yeah. Clark Atlanta. Somebody had a whole I think it's our good man Herb Seward had it was a whole conference, super conference.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so it's dope, man. It's dope. Yeah, I did see A&M's on there. Jay White said A&M. We all know Jay White. Yeah, we all know. But nah, I did see A&M. That was A&M was dope. They play. I saw the Tuskegee. Somebody also created Elizabeth City. Elizabeth City.
I seen Fort Valley State too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was talking with Travis before the show. He said he don't think they'll be able to get one by December. Get like a download with the
I don't think they're putting FCS schools on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to download somebody's, throw it on the game and play with some of these schools.
I want to create one.
You want to create one too?
Yeah.
We'll have to find out how to create one.
You said like
on the computer. Yeah, we'll have to look it up. Team builder and stuff.
I saw a YouTuber do it, but he got early access.
You have early access?
No, like to the team builder.
I'm sure you got early access to team builder. You literally got early access to everything.
No.
Okay. No, you do. I don't think you believe when I pull it up and show you. You'll see. Say what? Why are you whispering?
embarrassment to myself.
All right. You got anything else HBCU wise you want to talk about? All right. Let's get ready to get up out of here. We'll be back. I think we'll be back on Thursday. We should. I don't know if we'll have a guest or anything, but we'll see. All right, man. Let's get up out of here. Be back on Thursday. Like that. We at.
This show was presented by betonline.ag.
Bring me.